Hi everyone, this is Sinan from Carinspected, and today we're doing a transmission and differential oil change on this 2010 BMW 535. This is the XDrive, so it's not the XI. Well, not sure if that makes much of a difference to the replacement. So what I've done so far is I just removed the covers. There are two of them. There's one here, one there. Various screws all around, and 8mm socket I was able to remove. Then I removed the CV joint, or the universal joint, sorry, from the transfer case. I'm going to be doing the transfer case as well. So this is the shifter, I believe, that everybody's talking about with the parking brake. We're gonna go at it one step at a time. Right now I just drained all the fluid that's in the oil pan, but I haven't gotten a chance to get to that bolt yet. I believe that's a 14mm. I'll remove the pan first, remove the mechatronics unit as well, just to drop everything, clear the way so I can open this bolt easily. So what we have is, this is a ZF. These are all ZF parts that I'm putting in, including the Lifeguard Fluid 6. I got 7 liters, I hope it's enough. This is part of the fluid that got drained. I just gathered it into here just for analysis later, just in case. And I wanted to keep track of how much fluid comes out. So about 4 liters in there. And then another, I'd say maybe about 1 liter here. Up to now it's 5 liters. I'm gonna put the cap back, and then I'll start loosening all around. All right. I'll loosen all the bolts by hand first, and then I'll use power tools to loosen them to basically expedite the process. All right. So this is the transfer case fluid that we'll be using. The socket is a T40 to open the bolts that hold the transmission pan in place. Now I loosened them by hand initially, and then I went around with a drill to loosen it some more. I dropped it a little bit, and I kept 4 bolts in each corner there. I loosened them nonetheless. I put the plug back because there will be still fluid in there. I can feel it. It's a little heavy. So this is going to be a one-man operation. I'm going to try to hold it in place, loosen the 4 bolts, then use both hands and drop the pan down, and I'll report back shortly. Alright, if you have an XDrive, make sure you mark one side for alignment, just to know how to put it back. I like to put it back exactly how it came off, just in case there is a misalignment, or if these are balanced in such a way. I just didn't want to mess around and introduce vibrations. In some videos, maybe it's a rear-wheel drive, it shows that you had to remove the exhaust clamp or the holder, these 2 bolts here. Until now, I don't see why for an XDrive. The other cars were rear-wheel drive that I saw the videos for. I think it's the Shop Life. Thank you for the video. It's been very, very helpful. That's what I'm using as a guide. As well as the ZF video. Alright, I'll check back in a minute. Alright, here we are back. The pan is off. It'll continue to drip from the mechatronics unit. One part that I probably forgot to mention is it's a very simple plug here. It's a twist type plug that can be disconnected from the sleeve. Now, I already loosened or pulled this back down to prep the removal of that sleeve. I'm going to be removing the mechatronics unit. This is a ZF. It has some Bosch parts. Now, to the oil pan, this is not usually covered. This is the manufacturing date of the oil pan. The car is a 2010. It was made in September 2009. This is the metal shavings that are on the magnets. Now, I'm just dispersing them just to show you. The car has about 120,000 miles. It has not been done. This is the first time that I opened the pan. It's been used on the highway mostly. So the oil was relatively clean. Total oil removed, I'd say. The pan was full, by the way. So I just removed it, held it in my hand, and then emptied the rest here. I'd say about 6 liters so far. Maybe a little bit less, but so far it's about 6. So these are the metal shavings. I will be posting later, after I drive the car for a few hundred kilometers or a few hundred miles, I'll be posting an update on if the transmission fluid worked or not. And basically just to tell you if these metal shavings are okay or not, or is that excessive or not, I don't know. So we'll find out. Alright, now letting it drip a little bit. I do have better access to the drain plug here, and I want to measure how much fluid comes out of here. I'm going to be using the same system, so I'll be using a funnel and then just a 1 liter container that is measurable, and I'll see how much comes out. Now the spec, based on research, it should be about 0.6 liters. We'll find out, and I'll show you a trick on how to replace the fluid without accessing the fill plug, which I can't even see. Alright, check back in a bit. Alright, here we are back. The socket is a 14. This is the drain plug. I opened it up. It was relatively easy. And then, as far as I gathered so far, it's about 450 mil for the fluid that's gathered so far. I'll let it drip some more before attempting to refill. Now the trick that I learned online is just get a rubber piece. I have 2 because I have 2 transfer pumps, 2 different sizes here. And make sure you get the right size that you can fit snugly in here. Okay? And then you pump in whatever you need. Basically connecting this onto here, like so, and then inserting this piece into here, and then pumping the fluid that's required, then removing the red part or the filler or the transfer pump, and then plugging it, then removing that, and then plugging the hole really quickly. I will be overfilling by about 100 milliliters to compensate for whatever is going to be lost in the mess of getting here. Now what I'll be saving is removing this whole, well, first of all removing the exhaust, second removing the heat shield, and removing the transfer case mount just to access the fill plug, which is a few hours, especially looking at the condition of my exhaust clamps or exhaust bolts. As you can see them, pretty bad. This one is actually almost gone. Anyway, I'll check back in a little bit. This is the fill plug from inside for the transmission. It's right there. Okay. Alright, just following up a little bit. Still dripping here. This is what I meant by the fitment that I was trying to put together. It fits quite well. We're gonna test it further, and just to preserve this, because I won't be using the whole thing, so the cap can be switched with any other cap from an oil, a 1 liter oil. I just wanted to keep this cap clean and then insert this cap just to keep the fluid in place, just in case it falls while I'm trying to fill, etc. It will not go, I will not lose the whole fluid just by a stupid mistake, which does happen a lot. And I'll be using a very similar method for the other oils as well when I add the transmission fluid. So I advise to do it. You don't have to. If you're really careful. I seem to have a lot of memories of bad experiences. So with that, we're gonna set things up here, and we'll start pumping in 500 ml, which I have gotten so far. So there might be still fluid in the transfer case, but what I've gotten out so far is 500 milliliters. I will be adding 500 milliliters, and I will report on how it worked and if the seal is good, etc. Alright, here we are. I've used about 400 or 550 milliliters. I have to admit, it was a little messy, but it did save me a lot of time. So with that, do I recommend it? Definitely, I do. I will be cleaning the leftovers here. Some brake clean, just to avoid any smells or anything. While you're driving for the first time, just want to make sure that I don't mess anything up. And check for leaks in a bit. Alright, I'll report back in a little bit once I get the fill plug removed for sure, and once I get that sleeve out, or at least attempt to get it out. Alright, Alright, so mechatronics unit is out. Just a few comments. See this here? I thought that I had to remove, and I did kind of loosen that bolt and that connector, but it turned out that everything is, you don't need to loosen this bolt, just leave it in place. I would say the transmission has leaked another, I'd say about a liter between whatever it was in the mechatronics unit and that's where the plug connector goes, there. That was a little bit difficult. You need, well, I kind of broke it, I don't care, but you have two seals here and you have a third one right there. That's there tight, especially at 200,000 kilometers. There isn't much leeway. I didn't have much space, but it is doable. It's definitely doable. See, it's still leaking, so it's nice to have something to collect the oil right under, because it's a messy job. So now I'm just gonna clean the surface, replace those, and this rubber with the replacements. It's not in such a bad shape. Well, it's definitely much less flexible, but it does have some springiness to it. This one here is okay. I'll remove them one by one. I'll match them with whatever I have in here. And we'll go through them one by one. And I have new bolts as well. I mean, it's a scary job. Well, scary as in you don't want to ruin your transmission. So if you're opening all of this, it takes a lot of meticulous care. Make sure that you get good parts, otherwise it's really, it might give you, you don't want to visit this again for a while. So make sure you get the right parts. All right. Okay, so replacements are done. You can see the old ones there. The new ones, what I did is I went with angle pick tool, and I just worked my way around until I was able to pull each one out. And then I basically lubricated the new one, just slid it in. It was relatively easy, just clip this in place. And now we're ready to install. I did tighten the bolt here. I'll show you from a good angle. There you go. I just put it back because it was pointless to remove. So now we're going to be installing. I cleaned up here and there, just to make sure that the surface is good. And I have a few bolts in my hand and I'm getting ready to install. Check back in a second.